Morning, everybody. Wow, we're gonna have a really tiny crowd today. That'll be cool. Hey, Toast, what's happened? What's going on? Nope. Thank you. What's going on? Hey, Eye for Beauty. How's the light? How's the sound? All that fun stuff. Can you hear me okay? All good. Hold on one second here. Um, yeah, I wanted to check sound, light, all that stuff because I switched things up. I'm using my the tablet, which is an Apple product, which is nice because I am live streaming to our YouTube channel. So well, we're doing that with all of our shows and auctions and everything now. So that means it'll be archived and available for access pretty much all the time now instead of, what is it, 90 days or something like that is the only available, uh, where they cut it off after 90 days here and whatnot for previous auctions or chats or whatever you end up doing. So looks like we're gonna have a small group of people, which is kind of one of the reasons why I did this early in the morning. So I'm gonna recap some stuff from the last show. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over. We talked a little bit about the different styles of sales that we at Green 13 do, and I'm gonna go over some numbers and stuff with the sales we did this week because it pretty much we did one sale relating to most of the types that I mentioned. So it kind of works out that way that I did you know a style of sale almost for every category we kind of covered. Um, the one thing I do want to mention, I'm not sure if everyone knows about it. It just came down recently that Whatnot is no longer allowing purchase based giveaways, incentivized giveaways, or something like that, which I talked a little bit about. So I'm not going to really be going recapping that because it feels to me that that type of sale is going to be extinct or retired here on Whatnot platforms. The game style sales that I talked about a little bit. So the game style sales where people would offer a lot of that is going to be gone. Which unfortunately also eliminates, some of the little perks that we got to put in our sales, like the banana bonus, the bingo, which everyone seemed to enjoy. We were trying to retool that anyway, so that's off our plates, and unfortunately not going to be able to happen anymore. So I don't have anything really to recap on that because of that exact thing. So there's kind of seems like that would be pointless at this time until what can we do? Um, the funny thing is, how are we supposed to have fun? Listen, here's the deal. Yeah. No, I have to read it. Me and the way my brain works. I'll tell you exactly how my brain operates. First thing I do is when I read policy procedures to see what it doesn't say. I always instructed my kids, step kids, like when you're given a set of rules for dealing with stuff, first read it over real quick, and pay attention to more of what it doesn't say than what it does say, because that's where your out of box thinking kicks in and allows you to be extremely creative. So I have to reread it. If it's worded the way I think it's worded, I may have figured out a way to at least keep things like the banana bonus rolling. A little change that will apply to it, but I think I might be able to work it out depending on how it's worded. So I just thought about that earlier this morning. So, but I don't want to go into it until I know for sure that that's the case. So yeah, I know it seems like a lot of fun might be slipping away with some of this stuff, but the rotten apples that have used it, mostly from my understanding, came from the card category. There's a lot of uh, influential people on like YouTube influencers and stuff. Our mystery shows, yeah, it's something like mystery boxes, which is built into the system, is still allowed. What you can't do is like bounties, sweeteners, Things like what the banana bonus was, where we would basically incentivize you purchase something to get a big huge pile of stuff. So that's Monday is no longer allowed here on Whatnot. So like the people that would and it was crooked people. They would take like, they would open a pack of cards, and there would be a bounty card, and if that card, somebody bought a pack of cards that had that card in it, they would win this big huge prize. People would go off camera and switch the cards, and basically not allow people to win the bounties. So I understand people got upset. That is, bad, but you know how it works. I mean, that's the way it always is. Few rotten people ruin it for everybody. So anyway, let's get into this. I have a day plan for myself with my wife since I've been working so much, and we're soon going to be doing Pick This Old House, everybody. A lot of time's going to be taken away from me for my personal time with my wife and friends and family and stuff. So um, I have time scheduled with spend a decent chunk of today with my wife. We're going to go to a place called Shanks Ferry, a wildlife preserve, a wildflower preserve. So we go do some strolling around in some beautiful wildflowers with my wife later today. So let me get into this. I'm going to do a recap here. Somebody sent me a question. And then once I'm done doing a recap, I want to do what I talked about, where, I want to know from you guys. We're going to do that later. What you'd like me to cover, different things. And if I get a lot of the same people asking requesting the same thing, that's what I'll try to touch base on, in the future. So we'll do that later. So to recap, somebody asked me about the reverse auction, and I'm going to go over that because that creates the most confusion because there is no real reverse auction option on Whatnot. So somebody sent me a question regarding that, like, is there an option to do that? And I told them I'd clear it up here and give you an example. Did anyone join me for the reverse auction that I had on the Hummels this last week? Anyone here happen to be there for that? I for beauty. I know you were. Yes, yes. Okay. I'm going to give an example. They were like, unless I see the numbers and how it works running, I don't really understand. So I'm going to show you the numbers that I've been coming up with as far as what type of valuations I'm getting out of these items utilizing the reverse auction style. Yes, it is more time consuming to do this style of auction, but the reward, the time is definitely worth it. The amount of money you get in addition to. Now, I do want to mention when you're uh, doing this, it is a particular type of auction that works only if it's um, a category of things that you bought at a specific price and you know how much you need to get out of each item. It's not like the way I want to explain that is when I do purchases here at Green 13, we buy collections of stuff that are based on a per item basis, or you might buy a collection where one item's worth $1,000 and one item's worth $100 and one item, a bunch of items are worth $10. Those type of collections would not work for this. You need something that's got like an average cost across the board. Yeah, yeah, I've sold several hundred, and you watch. I'll show you the numbers of how this worked out with the Hummel sale during the reverse auction. So everyone understand that. I want to make sure you understand that these styles work best with certain type of collection. So something where you're like Hummels, which is an example of this, where I paid X amount per Hummel. It wasn't like I paid so much for one and so much for another one. It was here's 800 Hummels. You're paying this amount of money for it, so I know what my average is. I came up with an average retail value that I expected to be able to get out of it if we had to sell it on other platforms. So I paid accordingly. So that's how you would utilize this type of sale. So I'm going to show you functionally how the reverse auction works. Okay, it's not hard. It's not complicated. You have to rerun the item over and over again. Ideally, the way the true reverse auction works with retail sales. I'm not talking about reverse auctions in the commercial industry where it's means that there's more sellers and there are buyers instead of more buyers and sellers. I'm not going to get into that. That's a contractual reverse auction for bidding on things like building, you know, uh, um, commercial structures and things like that. But a reverse auction is where you start at a higher price and you slowly reduce the value. And ideally, the way I would prefer it to work is it just incrementally drops, a couple dollars each time. And the first person that clicks the bid button would win the item. Can't do that here and whatnot. So this is what we do. Okay. So we're going to start here. I got an auction preloaded. So we would start with something like, $40. And I don't do 5 seconds, I do 10 seconds. And I would run it. You see it running? It runs for 10 seconds. If no one bids on it, I then would drop it to another incremental amount. Now, I went into the strategy of how you need to design those incremental drops. You want that front end handle to drop. So there's strategic price points that you have to utilize depending on how you buy. So in this situation, if I started at 40, my next drop would be instead of 35, I'd go down to 34. Obviously, the 4 changes to a 3, and then I would run. And then my next one, I would drop down to $29 to get that front end handle. When I say front end handle, I'm talking about that first number. I'd go down to $29. And then the next one, instead of going down to 25, I'd go down to 24. Make sense to everybody? You understand? It's not very complicated. You do 10-second rounds. You could even use sudden death in order to speed the process up even that much faster. Everybody in chat understand what I'm talking about? Have I lost anybody? Everyone got it? Everyone quiet? Everyone just bored? Sick and tired of me talking about reverse auctions? Man, you guys are quiet today. I need audience participation here, everybody. Trying to wake up. Yeah, it's a little early. Okay. So let's talk numbers. How the reverse auction, and you want to go back and watch some of my shows where I talk about anchoring. 7 a.m. here. I know it's early. I do understand it's early. So here's the deal. Reverse auction capitalizes on the concept of the behavioral concept of anchoring. So you're starting at a higher number and incrementally changing it. That higher number sets the expectation in mentally in someone's brain that this is roughly what the item could potentially be expected to sell for in a retail end of the spectrum, and then you slowly drop it down, which creates the value proposition for you to bid on it. The other aspect you have to realize when you're doing a reverse auction, you have to have a price point where you take it off. You do not bring it back. If someone says, "Hey, can you bring that item back?" That defeats the entire purpose of the reverse auction. So remember, all those principles for the reverse auction has to be applied in order for it to work effectively. So let's go here. Let's talk some numbers here. I have them written down here on my board here. So I did a test auction. Okay, long time ago with Hummels. All right, I did just did what I call a grind sale. A grind sale is just when you just put up an item and you have a generic start price and you start it and you let it run. So my average price that I got for my very first Hummel auction when I ran it non-reverse was $11.75 a piece. Now, I want you to understand, I had some big Hummels in there, like Hummels that should have brought, a decent chunk. I shouldn't say that in retrospect. Now what I'm getting with the reverse auction, it would have done, way better. But that's more in line with what you expect to see with Hummel sales. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. And that's not really worth the time spent, after you pay for packing, shipping, and all that kind of stuff. Getting $11.75 per item is not worth it. Now, when we purchased the Hummels, we did a ERV, which is expected retail value estimate on these Hummels, this collection we bought. The expected retail value on the items were about what did I come up with? Oh, here it is. I have it written down. I got to read my notes. Was $25. Okay, so we were expecting with some of the larger ones that were in there, some of the, smaller, older ones, there's newer ones, it's a nice mix. We're expecting to average out about $25 a piece for these Hummels. So when I did the reverse auction style, my last reverse auction, my average price, now this is all gross, my average price was $24.55. 24.55. Now the one before that was 22 and change, and the one before that was like somewhere around the same thing. So I've been averaging over $20. Um, yes, I doubled what it was. Now you couple that, realize the profit margins you're making on here. We do all of our numbers, and you have to know your numbers of your overhead costs and everything for selling items, especially in that low price range. So you buy accordingly. So obviously you can't pay a high price for stuff that's only selling for $25 a pop. Now, here at Green 13, we have what I call our opportunity cost threshold for selling on here. That is a 30% threshold. And what that means is we are willing to take a 30% discount from retail for things that we would otherwise sell on other platforms in order to sell here and whatnot, which is our cost savings for the speed in which we get to sell on here. We don't have to take pictures. We don't have to, create titles. We don't have to do a lot of research, yada, 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 yada. That is a 30% value to us. Everyone following me so far? So that really tells you how well the reverse auction worked for these Hummels. And it worked for our glass sale that we did. I'm going to try it with jewelry that I've coming up. I'm going to start implementing this more in those style of purchases that we do. A hit only on lower end, I assume. What do you mean a hit only on? No, our glass sale was all Murano glass, and it did spectacular. So let me continue here with what I was talking about. How do they apply for the franchise program? So you take the factor of that 30% discount that I'm willing to take, and I got $24.55 out of an average expected retail value of $25. My profitability is way, way higher. I just went to like what was that? Like a 50-60% overage, essentially, on the upside, utilizing this style of auction for the Hummels that I've been doing with this style. It's available, curator. I'm sorry, I'm on a limited time here. You can watch it back. It's live on you. It'll be on YouTube for you to watch back, and here on Whatnot for you to watch back. Sorry about it. But I've covered it in several of these chats, and it's early on. It's only 17 minutes in, so you can catch it pretty quickly. So you won't have a whole lot to catch up on. So everybody, just give me. I got to do a pulse check right now. Has everyone followed me? Does everyone understand what I'm talking about? You saw the display of how I run a reverse auction on here, with the numbers and discounts. Does it make sense? Is there any questions concerning it before I move on to the next thing? Yeah, you have to watch it back. I can't go over it all again. We're gonna go to the next type recap here in a second. No questions? Okay, fine, cool. So that's the recap on the reverse auction. How it's scalable. If that was your question earlier that someone said on low end items, no, this is scalable as long as you utilize the reverse auction in the way I explained it. Okay, you do the reverse auction, and your purchasing method has to be, or your valuation method has to be averaged across the board for it to work. So you know where to take it off the block when you hit that price point that is like, hey, I'll just sell it somewhere else. So we're going to go into. I'm not going to go into the grind sale. I did a jewelry sale, which I consider a grind sale, and that's just where you put your items up and sell the item as you go. Like I said, the game stuff is pretty much off the off the board. Curated sales, which I talk about, I do not do. Now, there was somebody I noticed in the chat last week when I was talking about curated sales. I do not consider a themed or styled side of sale a curated sale. What I believe a curated sale is here and whatnot is when you go through the lengthy task and ordeal of taking pictures, making full-fledged titles and descriptions, and putting them in like you would be doing an eBay listing. We don't do that because the unique selling proposition, in my opinion, on whatnot is the time savings. That's where our 30% comes from. We figure that doing something like, not figure, we did the numbers, taking all the time to do that, and the amount of items that don't even sell on your curated sales that you then have to go and redo on another platform. That's your 30%. That's part of that 30% that we came up with, as to why we're willing to take a 30% discount on retail valuation for selling here and whatnot. So I'm not going to go over those because that's what that is. But I'm going to go over our scan sale that we did, and I'm going to show you some of the things, the way we do those, and what specific scenarios we apply to scan sales through. Again, I'm going to check the pulse here in the room. Everybody understand what a scan sale is? Hey, Jilly. No, no, no. Okay, I'll explain it. Jilly, I just saw you pop in. Hello. Um, I want to let you know your stuff is coming to you. This is a side note to everybody. Jilly buys stuff from us across multiple sales from Canada, correct, Jilly? Okay. I am trying to get your stuff worked out so you won't have many overages like we had in the past. So it's taken me, I'm going to probably do a little bit of combining of your items between the jewelry sale and the Hummel sale in order to make that happen. So that's why you didn't see your stuff shipped out yet. I was going to send you a message, but you're in here. So there you go. Okay. I'm trying to save you your money. So let's get back to it. Scan sale. A scan sale is where, and you see this all the time on whatnot, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's where people they'll have a whole bunch of items laid out, and they'll take their camera and they'll scan over the items. Have you witnessed that here and whatnot, where they'll scan over and they'll say, "Hey, let me know what you want to buy. Let me know what you." That's a scan sale. I'm going to go on I'll answer that question. If you're from Canada and you're buying from Green 13, we are part of a UPS program where if the package is too heavy, it'll automatically go UPS, and they don't have the fees built in for import fees, so they get charged extra. So I'm trying to prevent that from happening. So yes, they got charged for shipping, but they'll get additional charges if I have to send it UPS. Okay, so as far as scan sales go. So now hopefully everyone understands how scan sales work. So we do scan sales. We only utilize those when we're selling a specific category of items, not a big hodgepodge of different things. We used to, but we don't employ that. We don't apply that method anymore to like the estate sale category. This works. The style I'm going to talk to you about works best when you do one. It's all the same type of thing. So in this particular one, we did this last week. We did one the week before. This one was Transformers. So we do them in a specific, where it's all the same category of item in a category specific auction here on whatnot, meaning that I find instead of like estate sales or jewelry where it's just a broad based, it's very specific. So it was under the Transformers category. So we're selling Transformers in a Transformer category where you know that you're going to get a large portion of the people are going to be collectors and closer to retail buyers. Everyone following me so far. So this is how we apply scan sales, where it's not just, a generalized, category. So that's what we do scan sales. And this is how we do scan sales. I'm going to touch base again. Everyone been with my chat shows where I talk about the anchoring. I talked about it earlier. And in these chat shows, I'm going to talk about it all the time. It is a huge leveraging quality that you should understand and learn how to utilize in the auction world. So it's very important. You can go look it up. Look up behavioral principles of anchoring. I suggested a book on here for you to read, and you'll get a good dose of that from Dan Ariely's Predictably Irrational. Great book. Led me on my entire path of behavioral science and stuff. So you're going to utilize the principle of anchoring. And how we do this, I'm going to have to turn the screen around and show you. Let me erase this stuff. We'll go to some whiteboard stuff. So we had a bunch of, hold on, I'm going to take all this stuff off. I'm going to flip you around here. Oh, thank you for the tip. I'm going to mark down the tip here. Give me a second. There we go. Now I'm going to show you what I would change. Shane sets up these sales. He does all the writing on the sticky notes. We utilize sticky notes for this for the purpose of doing our scan shows. So let me flip you around here. Let me get this down here so you can see. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's cover up that for now. How do we tip great content? You have to be on on an app. You can't be on your computer, and you can just click on the little house, the little home down in the right hand corner, and you can select tip. So this is how we do our scan sales. So again, you're really attracting the retail / collector buyer pool when you utilize these very specific categories. The one before was retro games, so we had video games. These sales are slower. First thing, I will let you know, when we did a video game sale, we forgot because it's been so long. There is a certain tempo you want to create with these sales. So the way you start creating the tempo is you want to get the money flowing. When we started the first video game sale, we forgot to do this part, and what I'm going to explain to you is the part we forgot. You have to have some smaller items, cheap stuff. You don't care what it goes for to get the money flowing. You got to get the money flowing because everyone's always worried that to go jump in, be the first person to buy. So what you want to do is have some cheap items. In this particular situation, we had some like $5 and $10 items that were nothing crazy, that we just started at $1 to get the money flowing. So, does that make sense to you? In order to get things rolling as far as this goes, because what you're going to be doing is asking higher prices. Those are the only things that you're really going to be doing for the most part during these type of sales that are like low dollar start bids, just to get things rolling, get the fun and the wallets open essentially. So you do that. We did, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 things. You can probably do as little as 3, as many as 10, depending on the quantity of items in your sale. So what we do is, this is a representation of a sticky note. What we do is we put a sticky note on the particular item that we're planning on selling. Okay, so this is your anchoring. And again, you can't don't try to BS your collectors and buyers. They know what stuff is worth. Don't try to put like $1,000 retail on there and be like, I'm discounting it to a ridiculous amount. That's going to backfire on you. Be realistic. No. Can you do it verbally? If you want, but the effectiveness is minimal. You got to realize to do a sticky note like this takes you very little time. It's not like doing typing in a big title or anything like that. This takes you no time to do. Visual representation. Here, let me explain the other reason you do it verbally. You read it off. Buying. When people buy, they spend more and more readily purchase, the more senses you get activated in the experience. Reading, getting them to chat with you, you talking, them seeing, that's another benefit to Whatnot. The more senses your body is involved in the process of purchasing increases the purchase. So can you do it verbally? Yes. Can you eliminate that? Yes. The amount of time it takes to do this and the amount of effectiveness it has, there's no reason not to do it. And if it's there in front of you, everyone sees it. You say it once, it goes in one ear and out the other for people. This is a constant reminder. It doesn't go away. It's right on screen, never leaves. New people coming in see it. People leave and come back. That covers so many aspects. So let's get back to it. So we provide a retail value on the sticker. Very simple. Sticker tells you, just for simplicity's sake, we do this $100 starting bid. We have it written on $80. CIB means complete in box. You want to write a few little notes, mostly to yourself, of what you want to talk about that particular item. Is the item open? Is it complete? Is it missing parts? So on and so forth. So you put a little notation down there so you can address it when you put it up for people to see and buy. And you scan across the board. Now, you don't show each one of these. You start scanning the items, and someone will say, I'll use the transformer one as an example. They're like, "Hey, what are you asking on the shattered glass Grimlock?" You grab the shattered glass Grimlock, you have the thing on there, and you show it. Here's what I'm looking for. I want $100 for it. I'm not 100. Retail's $100. I'm willing to do 80. Again, know your numbers. We have a 30% threshold. You'll notice this number is very frequently what we use. 20% ish is our actual discount. So I'm showing you a representation of what we would do. So then you have room to negotiate. If somebody says, "Hey, if I buy 3 or 4 things, can you do a better deal or something like that?" You can do that. So if somebody says, "Hey, I'll do 75 on it," you're like, "Sure, no problem." Or you can also incentivize, like we did near the end of the sale. "Hey, we're going to throw a bunch of discounts out there." So you drop the price even more and bundle the stuff up. So here's what I would do roughly. Yeah. 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 I mean, you can pad with whatever you want. To be honest, I just have my numbers down to it gives you some room, and that's a colossal discount. We also give huge discounts on shipping. I'm not going to get into all that, but you can pad with 5%, you can pad with 10%. You could show them your full fledged starting bid. You could say, "Hey, this is my bottom line. I'm throwing you a 25% discount or a 30% discount." It's crazy. You don't want to miss out. However you want to do it. That depends on the crowd you got, depends on the category you're dealing with, so on and so forth. Do your research on that kind of stuff and try it out, and you'll see what works best with you and your crowd. So, this is what we do. And we sold almost every single item. Can you? You can do whatever you want, Vintage. I'm going to tell you right now, we got a lot of items when we did, let's say we did a bulk deal where we're like, okay, and I'll explain to you this works well too, because you have the appearance of, a larger discount when you add items. We would take like 4 items together, decrease the starting bid by another 5 or 10% and start it. And then they would bid on it, and the bidding frenzy would cause the bulk deal to go to practically full retail. So if you want to ask full retail, you can, but the whole point is you're creating the value, and it kind of defeats the purpose. So of this type, you can do whatever you want, but this is how we run our scan sales with this aspect built in. So the only difference I would do if it was me creating these, and I'll talk to Shane about doing that, I would utilize a small, like Sharpie pen to use the psychological principles of color and influence on people's purchasing habits. I would definitely use like a green pen to mark the retail and a red pen to mark the starting bid price. And the reason I would do that, it's one, it stands out, lets you see it instead of it blurring in the background and being not as significant. But there are actual psychological benefits to using colors, and I'll show you right here. Red, if you can't read it because of the chat, let's put it up there. Red promotes impulse buying. You'll see it very frequently in lots of online sales purchases. So it basically points out the discount you're getting. Green promotes thoughts of wealth and and value. Wealth and value are the two things. So obviously, you're giving your retail, you're pointing out the value of the item, and is predominantly going to show more and be perceived more accurately as a green, and the discount will be perceived more accurately in the red. So that would be the only difference that I would do if I were the one putting these sticky notes together. Yellow and red are fast food colors. That's why I for Beauty is literally has been um yeah, I did junk removal guy. I covered the new whatnot policy basically says you can't do purchase-based giveaway incentives. That's it. Like we can't do the banana bonus anymore. We can't say, hey, if you buy this item and find the banana in a box, you're going to win a bunch of stuff. So that kind of stuff is off the block. So yes, let's get back to the color. Do some research. You will find other colors promote other aspects, which would be good for you to utilize for your backgrounds. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you could implement. Yes, it's dumb. I'm not going to get into it. It's frustrating, but yes, it's huge marketing. Color based aspects are huge. Um, there's a double. I have a purple thing I use for jewelry. Purple creates the impression of royalty and prestige, which goes great with jewelry. So that's was a very lucky find on my part. Is a beautiful shimmering purple ring holder that I use for my background now with my jewelry. So, any questions, comments, anything like that before I get on to uh, let's see here. What do I got? We did the Hummel reverse, the scan sale. Um, yeah, I think that's it. Let's see here. The jewelry was the grind sale. Yeah, casinos utilize it a lot. So casinos, I mean, everybody does. The border is now checking everything. I don't know what you mean. You mean the USPS? I'm confused, Jilly. Yeah, Jilly, just message me. I want to make sure I don't do something that's going to cause you problems. Let's do it that way. I'm just trying to make sure that the weight doesn't get all funky and UPS charges you a bunch of money when I ship it. Okay. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, curiosities, anything like that with anything that I covered with the recap here? No, everyone's quiet. Do I do these too early? Everyone's still sleeping. Everyone's just hanging out. Driving. I would just look online. Don't get too in depth with it. Yes, we use sticky notes on scan shows with that type of format. A lot of this advice doesn't help if you don't have customers that just blindly bid on everything. That what buying on seems quite popular and whatnot. Well, let me explain something to you. That's the other thing I didn't tell you. The I don't know what you mean by a lot of. What do you consider a lot of customers? I don't junk removal for international shipping. Here's the deal with my Hummel sale. Now I got a raid from the Hodgepodge, sent a bunch of people in. I had a bunch of people in from other promotions that I did for like just telling people about the sale to go observe the reverse auction style. So my normal Hummel sales that I do might max out at 40 people, but on average probably has about 30. The transformer sale that we did, that had an average of 30 people in it. And our most, and I keep telling people this, our top five still to this day, probably now close to top six sales we've ever done, um, monetarily and profit wise, uh, have come from sales with less than 30 people in them. Um, Now, we get during our sort, save, and sell sessions, we'll get anywhere between 80 and 100 and some people in those. Um, yeah, it's the and here's the other thing for new sellers, since I'm done with going over that, we can go into the rambling chats. You know what? Let's do this. Now's the time that I said that I want people to tell me what they would like me to cover. It seems like new sellers probably have a lot of things. What would you, any new sellers in here? Let's do that. Any new sellers in here have anything you'd like me to touch base on in the next, have a chat about? And the more I get, you're a new seller thinking about selling. Okay, that's a good, hold on a second. How to maximize your first show. That's a great, great thing. Anyone else want to see something like that? How to maximize your first show. Stage fright. Hold on, let me take notes. Max first show. Now, I'm going to try to give you what I can. Whatnot has changed drastically since we started. So I'll do my best to tell you what I think would help. But channels for drawing. We don't have any channels. We are an example. We have no Facebook exposure. We have nobody goes to our YouTube channel. We just started doing that after we were on Whatnot. We don't have Instagram exposure. We don't do any of that. Jelly Bean. I'm not going to cover best way to get followers because I do not subscribe to the principle that followers are what gets you anything worthwhile on here, except for maybe marketing materials outside of selling on Whatnot. We pay very little attention to our follower count. We actually go out of our way to make sure that when we do giveaways and such, that we do not force following because we want unique, authentic people to be what follow that who follow us. No, I do not use business email lists. Yeah, tons of followers it doesn't do anything for you. Yeah, I can't help anything with international. Um, Let me see if there's any other questions I can get. How to list on my live without listing? I'm not sure I understand that question. So, hold on, I got to write this better. Maximize my first show. So right now I have a suggestion. A little over a year. Our first sale was May of last year. Is all you need is a iPhone. You don't need it to be an iPhone; just needs to be a cell phone. That's all we used. Since we've grown on here, I've because they roll out stuff for uh, um, stuff on Apple products earlier. I bought a tablet. Best practice for giveaways so we don't lose money in shipping. We don't do a lot of giveaways, but hold on a second. Do you change direction of your show based on viewer count or all pre-planned? No, you have to be nimble and change. You can feel the room and you have to adjust accordingly. Let's see here. Where'd that one go? There was a question I wanted to answer. Now I can't find it. Oh, well. Oh, somebody asked about stage fright. Um, have a percent off sale tomorrow to clear out old stock. Would sticky notes be helpful? Of course, Jilly. Again, visual representation is never going to be hard. Yeah, I have that. I'm not going to cover that today. That's going to be a future show. How to maximize first shows. Somebody talked about stage fright. Oh yeah, that's what it was. You guys are typing answers as far as giveaways. When we do giveaways, I always put them in at an ounce, so I'm never, overpaying on the shipping for a giveaway. So that's the one thing that I would say. Like, don't put in whatever if you're going to eat the shipping costs no matter what. But to make sure you don't overpay on shipping, you know, put in at 1 ounce is my suggestion. Uh, I need help on live listings. Can I just I just we do generic across the board lots for our shows. I'm going to mention stage fright. There, the trick to getting over stage fright. Yeah, medium male, you have to be in the category for it. The trick to getting over stage fright is just to do it. Here's a, you know, to maximize first shows. I understand you want to maximize your first show. Really, my suggestion on first shows are do them one with a friend, an acquaintance that can help you stay comfortable. Um, the other is to you just need to do it and do it frequently because my saying that I always tell people a fear only lasts as long as you're willing to avoid it. So you just have to jump in and do it. The more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it, and don't focus on the fact that you're getting comfortable, or just be comfortable in the fact that you're just working on that aspect. Don't worry about your sales. Try to eliminate as many worries. Don't worry about how many people in your room. One of the suggestions I made earlier, I'm not paying attention to chat at this point in time. So if you're asking questions, you have to ask them again. Was to cover with a little sticky note your room count number. Pay no attention to your room count number. What'd Bill say? No, sure you did, Bill. Oh my goodness. That was actually a suggestion from Bill to us. He said it to me one time because the room count affects you as a person when you're selling. Uh, yeah, yeah, 60 sets of eyes. I'm completely comfortable with that now. That's no big deal. Um, we've had, when we do pick this old house, we get into the 200s. So the but what does affect you is when you have a room count in the, let's say you're over 100 because it's just a psychological threshold, and then you start seeing it drop to 80. I'm going to be honest, it has an effect on me. Why it has an effect on me? I don't know. I know this is the behavioral, the predictably irrational aspect of you being a human. Uh, I have that threshold, and a lot of people I think have this generic anchor in their head. And here's a perfect anchor that happens on Whatnot. 100 people, people think, oh, if I have 100 people, things are going to sell well, and that's not necessarily the truth at all. Like I just explained, some of the biggest price points that we've gotten and sales that we've gotten were with rooms of 30 people or less. So, but it still unfortunately affects me as mentally, and then that can affect the tempo of the sale, can affect the prices you get because it's affecting me. And let's be honest, the people that are selling, they're the salespeople, and if something's affecting them, it's going to change the prices. And unfortunately, if you're having a negative thought in your head, That's going to translate to negative impact and negative sales, negative prices. Thanks, Jay. Yes, very fancy. Yeah, they'll hear the change in your voice. They'll see, the inflection of your voice will change. They'll see the disappointment on your face if you're showing your face. Yeah, numbers are numbers. All right. Yeah, you want the right people, and that's kind of like um, you know, what we were talking about with some of the type of sales and targeting the categories you want to sell in. The other thing I would suggest, once you get on here and start selling, try to find out who is the head rep um, of whatever category you sign up for, and they'll reach out to you after you hit a certain point, but don't wait for that. I didn't realize they even existed until they reached out to me, but I'll let you know they do exist. Try to find out who that is, and reach out to them. Let them know that you're there. Get in their mind, and then you can ask them to help you out with push notifications, different aspects that you don't realize are aware. And right now, Whatnot is very supportive. And I'm just going to tell you the flat out honest truth that happens with every company. The larger they get, the less access you're going to have to that kind of stuff. So you're still getting in early. So take advantage of that kind of stuff while you have it. So if I wasn't paying attention to chat, the other thing right now I only have one topic: how to maximize your first show. Is there any other topics anybody would like me to cover? I'm obviously going to be still continuing to cover the stuff I want to. Next week, I'm going to be doing a pre pick this old house chat. Yeah, I don't either. Again, it's not affected to me. Jelly Bean, I'm just going to answer that question. No, that doesn't matter. What time? I mean, again, you develop your crowd, you find your people, and you sell to them. I have no idea what the approval process is right now. I don't have any advice on that. Yeah, there's people selling all hours of the day, all hours of the night. Building relationship with buyers. That might be a good one. Hold on. With buyers. Okay. Tips for reading the room. All right, I'll see if I can. I'll have to like watch back and because it's almost instinctual. Hold on, I forget. How did it determine if you really should define yourself as a seller? What key attributes are needed to be successful? The key, I'm just going to tell you, Eye for Beauty. I'll go down and read later. How to determine if you really should define yourself as a seller? That's easy. If you have a desire, you can make it happen. Um, and the key attribute needed to be successful is having the desire to do it. That's it. That's my opinion. Um, like I said before, most of what's going to hold you back is fear. We all know we deal with fear differently, but it's a matter of just doing it and not stopping. I'll give you my own personal background as far as getting into selling. Does anybody care to hear? Yeah, we'll give you a background. All right. I was a very introverted person. I was a phonophobic. I would not talk to people on the phone. I was not engaging. I was not the first person to come up and talk to anybody whatsoever. Um, when I was in my 20s, um, I was delivering furniture for a company that no longer exists called Goods Furniture. and realized, obviously I had these ambitions in life that I wanted to do something more than obviously deliver furniture. Realized my biggest thing I needed to do was find out what I was lacking in, and I came to realize that I thought the biggest thing as far as a personality trait goes, I don't collect anything. Um, the the thing that I was lacking was my ability to engage with people and communication, and so I was like, what can I do to force myself to learn how to deal with people? Yeah, money. I used to tell people that. What do I collect? Money. Um, it's hard to collect money these days with prices of everything. Anyway, I intentionally, I haven't purchased a bottle of whiskey for that wasn't a gift for probably close to a year. Well, no, not quite. Probably about 6 to 8 months. So what I did, uh, because I realized that you're not going to make me personally believe that in what I wanted to accomplish and do, I'm not going to make it anywhere without being able to deal with people and learn how to talk to people, engage with them. I decided to throw myself into the worst case scenario that I could possibly imagine. I was dealing with at Goods Furniture. I requested that I be a salesperson on the sales floor at a furniture at one of the furniture stores. Um, and I got to tell you, that was one of the most. You know, I still remember the first customer that came up. My heart was beating so fast. I knew my entire body was flush red with all but pre-embarrassment and fear of dealing with a customer, knowing I had no answers. I knew nothing about furniture. I mean, they tried to teach you these sales styles and tactics, and they called it integrity selling and all this stuff. Um, but I mean, all that's to me is more once you get over your main fear of dealing with people, that stuff starts becoming a little helpful. But right out the gate, when you have no experience, a super, I don't even know how to express. I'm trying to think of how to express the fear I had of dealing with somebody. It's almost like I would have rather have been, told me I was diagnosed with a terminal illness than to deal with being on a sales platform, not platform, on a sales floor selling stuff. But I forced myself to do it. That's why when people like what Eye for Beauty asked, um, you just you have to you just do it whether you like it or not. You force yourself, you jump in, you dive in, um, and you just keep going at it. Now, was I did I turn out to be a successful furniture salesperson? No. That's because I didn't have a passion. I didn't that desire I was talking about. My desire in that situation was to get over my fear, not to become a great furniture salesperson. And then once I was like, okay, now I'm comfortable enough with myself as far as dealing with people. I thought like, hey, I'm going to segue into a environment that was more to my liking, and that was dealing more in the financial field. So I became a, loan officer, and that got me over my fear, which wasn't as obviously it was incremental dealing with people. And then I was phonophobic. I hated calling and talking to people on the phone. So I got into selling, not selling, but it's all sales. Being a loan officer where I help people get mortgages. I love that. I got into being a little bit of a what's called a certified mortgage planning specialist. I coupled getting mortgages with your financial goals and investment goals. So I was really working with people at a deeper level, helping them. That was very fulfilling for me, um, and that led me into starting to get into the world that things that we're talking about now, the behavioral science. I started reading about body language, statement analysis, human behavior on across the board. So you were at happy hour a lot. Yeah. The mortgage business was very time consuming. I was still in my 20s. You dealt with real estate agents to get business. You were on the phone all the time. You had to answer your phone practically 24/7. Um, you know, And then the mortgage meltdown of 2008 happened. And long story short, um, I had started my own mortgage brokerage franchise. Essentially, it was a franchise, and I had my own office with a business partner. Invested pretty much all my savings into it. It went that main company went belly up. We had to close, and I literally shortly thereafter was homeless for a while. I owned a home and was homeless. I had to rent out my home because I didn't have money to pay the mortgage on it. Um, and was living kind of on, I was couch surfing at the time. And then about, I mean, it's close to 14 years ago, out of necessity, this business started up. There were several. We started this, kind of just buying and selling stuff out of Shane's house, and then shortly after, we were renting a little tiny house that Shane's dad owned, and I was still pretty much, without a home. And there were certain nights I remember sleeping on the floor in that house. There wasn't really any heat that I could turn on because we were using it for business purposes. And man, no bed. I'm just sleeping on the floor, wrapped up in my jacket and another sweatshirt used as a pillow. But then time goes by, it becomes successful, and out of necessity, I had to keep studying, learning, and pushing, and not giving up, and here we are. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. Now let's get back to I got a little bit more time. Let's get back to more questions on what people would be interested in seeing me talk about. You sound like a writer. Well, let me tell you, writing is not my strong suit. I cannot spell. For the life of me, I'm terrible, terrible, terrible speller. Always was, always will be. I uh, almost failed high school because of my inability to to just I would maybe not completely spelling, but yeah, GPT, yeah. Never give up. No, I guess I take my own advice and never give up on spelling, but it's not as integral to success these days. Spelling, because of technology, has helped that out a lot. I sometimes wonder, like, oh, I wonder what I would have accomplished if I would have had the talk to text when I was younger that is available these days. What I would have given for that when I was younger. So again, I keep going off on a bunny trail. Yeah, yeah, math. Yeah. No, at this point in time, I don't care. Like, I can't spell. It's just part of life. So again, I have two. Building relationships with buyers, a request for our future show or topic. How to maximize your first show. Somebody wanted me to talk about. Is there any other request? Anything else that you guys? I mean, this is your opportunity to kind of guide. Like I said in the preview video, yeah, you can give away items. You can do the standard giveaways here and whatnot. You can't do purchase based incentivized giveaways. That's what's no longer allowed. Um, I got to do some checking on the verbiage. I think I may have, figured out a way that I can still do the banana bonus, but I have to read the verbiage of the new policy before I will be able to talk about it or implement it. I don't know how they're doing with music. I think they just tell you you can play it, but you're responsible for any lawsuits or infringements that might result from them. Yeah, it's just hold on a second. Somebody has a question here I want to cover that deals 33 space. Have you noticed a difference from scanning versus just running items regardless of interest? Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, The scanning aspect creates a higher level of involvement from your buyers, which helps in my based on behavioral principles. The more somebody's involved, which we try to develop our shows quite a bit around this concept of community involvement, your buyers being involved with your sales. So a scanning show forces involvement. Now, if you utilize the sticky note method we were talking about, that also capitalizes on strategic price uh, discounts and anchors, which are also behavioral principles that you can do at the same time. So you're um, what I call all this stuff I call micro influencers to help increase the amount you get for your items. And the more micro influencers you can stack on top of one another, the more money you're going to end up getting. So, user involvement and anchoring and strategic price points, all those elements, the more you can apply in a single show, I believe, and you know, not only believe, but the numbers speak for themselves based on how we implement them. Um, work. I think the choice trade is questionable. Paying for a chance, is that different from paying for a tangible item? So confusing. What do you mean, Eye for Beauty? Are you talking about the new policy, the one, the choice trade that we do, or are you just saying choice in general? I asked two questions, sorry. In general or us specific? Green 13 or in general? Okay. I'll answer that for you, Eye for Beauty, in a second. Everyone keeps asking about these free gift things. It's purchase based incentives. If you're giving a giveaway, if you're giving a gift for every purchase, you're not incentivizing that. There's no incentive, in my opinion. I'm just telling you my opinion on that. You throw free gifts in people's packages, that's fine. What they're trying to eliminate is people that are abusing the gambling aspects here and whatnot, where they're like, you can win this big pile of stuff if you find this special card inside this pack, and then cheat the people and make people pay $40 for a pack that's worth $10. Yes. So most of the stuff in this category, if you're in this category, I wouldn't sweat it. We have aspects that we're doing that, and again, they'll tell you. They're not going to just cut your account and be like, "Hey, this breaks the rules. Stop doing it." Um, but doing that kind of stuff, I'm not worried about. It's kind of like the stackers. I think if I mention the word like, "Hey," I used to say like, "Hey, if you get me to $10, I'll throw extra in." That might skirt the lines of the policy, so I'm just gonna stop saying that. I'm just gonna throw stuff in, because you're getting it for the price I'm selling it for. They just don't want people, making you pay more than you need to. So let me get back here to, Eye for Beauty's question, if I can find it. Where'd your question go, Eye for Beauty? No, choice is always gonna be a viable option here no matter what aspect. Uh 'Cause you're buying a tangible item, um, you just get to choose which tangible item it is. That's a standard that happens in standard auction everywhere. So I don't know what's confusing about it, because people do choice all the time here on and how or you talking about us doing choice in order to win the banana bonus, which we can't do that anymore because you get to buy what you want. Why not just take a box off the shelf and sell the item out of it? You heard me before. We like user engagement. I want you to make the choice, and that the choice trade was just a fun mechanism to allow the buyer to decide. Now, I'm glad you brought it up, I am glad you brought it up because there are gonna be, I'm gonna start implementing, some changes into the choice aspect, with buying. We're always looking for ways to, get people on here to be involved. I don't want our streams to be boring. I don't want to just sit here and just grab stuff out of a box and just keep running it and running it. To a certain extent, I do want to speed it up. My ideas I'm looking to do will help speed up the process, but also still allow people to have some a little more involvement and engagement. So that's the what you're requiring to purchase out of the choice box to determine the box choice. Yeah, it's just it's a benefit that you get. I'm not requiring it. I'm just allowing you to do it. Like I could at any time in the middle of the auction just be like, I'm just going to grab this box, but I don't. I stick to my plan of allowing somebody to choose. You know, I could just say, okay, scrap the entire choice tray, and like I do at the jewelry sales, and be like, all right, the first three, you know, numbers that I see in the chat's going to determine what box I pick. I just like user engagement. But that was a fun way to do user engagement. They get an item and they get a free choice out. They get to choose the box. They're not rewarded with anything monetarily. They're rewarded with involvement. I'm guessing Eye for Beauty, you don't like the choice tray. Is that what you're getting at? Thanks for the tip. You want us to do away with the choice tray, Eye for Beauty? Yeah, choice is a great. No, just asking. Okay, where's the watch? Oh, I don't have it here today because I'm not going to get enough tips to sell the watch. There's still enough marbles in there. Um, yeah, we're getting close. We are definitely probably. I would hope sometime next week or the week after. Um, the choice in an auction, I love that principle. That is another type of sale that I did not discuss, but uh, I'm confused as to what qualifies. It has to have a tangible monetary value to it to be qualified as an incentive. Um, a choice to pick a box has no value. It's just an option you get. The item you're purchasing is where the value is. What they don't want is things like the banana bonus, where people potentially are paying more for the item. And this might help clear it up more too. Why we can't do the banana bonus is because people there's a potential there for people to pay more for the item in the choice tray than they would have normally in order to win that banana bonus. So, because we're giving away a pile of stuff that has monetary value. So, that's what they're trying to prevent from happening. But we can go back to the choice thing because that's another sales style that I never covered. And I'll cover it real quick here. Choice is a very great strategy because, again, we go back to nobody knows what anything's really worth until somebody else or something of influence creates that value. So, in everybody's head, with choice, certain things have more value than others. So, when you put competing bids against each other, against multiple different items, it helps maximize profits out of an item. So I love choice. We don't do it very much because of the way we buy and the strategies in which we employ to sell. But for new sellers, I believe that it is a great option for you to utilize choice options where you'll have like a Halloween piece, a Christmas piece, a piece of glass, a bunch of stuff that attracts interest from a lot of people. The other beauty of it here and whatnot, if you're doing choice, you never have an empty screen. You always have items that are people's particular interest always on the screen for them to look at. but that's floor and ceiling. No, that's different than the. You have to go read the policy. They should have sent you an email with it. So, and the bingo, we can't do that anymore either because we're providing a purchase based incentive for a future potential free value item of value. Yeah, mystery games are still allowed. You can still do those without a problem. So, all right, I keep getting off. I got about another 15 minutes here before I'm going to get going and go have a wonderful hike with my wife later today. Um, do you have any other requests for future topics of conversation? Somebody asked building relationship with buyers, how to maximize your first show is what I have. 15 minutes is still plenty of time, but just letting everybody know that's kind of my time range here that I'm looking for. Um, I'm going to enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day today. It's going to be temperature's not going to be bad. Any other topics? Sellers, buyers, anything that I think might be a good topic. Now, remember one of the themes here that I'm trying to stick with because a lot of people like it is more of the psychological principles that can be applied. So keep that in mind with your requests as well. Any topics you would like me to attempt to go over? I mean, again, everything that I'm going to cover is based on my personal experience here and whatnot, our experience. Some things might be hard for me to cover because, and I'll be straight up and honest with you, like maximizing your first show. The environment and whatnot is uh, very very different. How to get more viewers and buyers. Yeah, let me see what I can do about that. That's a hard one for us because we grew up on whatnot in the early stages on here throughout the last year. Hold on. I'll see if I can come up with some good generalized information. How to get. I'm just going to do buyers because viewers don't translate into buyers. Selling techniques vary for low versus high end items. I'm sure, yes, they do. Um, because I mean that depends on how you're planning on selling. Speed techniques are what I would look to apply to lower end items. Obviously, higher end items, you can apply some of the more strategic, like the reverse. Well, the reverse auction works for both, but the reverse auction uh, helps you get higher percentages for the items you're selling. I kind of went over what I think for scanning and preloading in earlier in this chat and in a previous chat. Um, Scanning, we showed how we, and you can watch it back, how we utilize the scanning method of sale. Um, Being on camera, just showing items. We just show items, and then sometimes you see us on camera in certain sales. I think for me, I think that's personal preference because you, as a seller, if you feel more comfortable not being on camera, you're naturally going to sell better. If you feel more comfortable being on camera, again, you're going to sell better. And preloading, I don't do. I think that's a complete waste of time and defeats the purpose and whatnot. If I'm going to preload items, I'm going to just list them on a platform that I'm going to get full retail for. Hey, Noah, what's going on? Yeah, look. If you want to preload and stuff, go ahead and do it. If you don't have any, in my opinion, other platforms that you plan on selling on, But if you're going to take time taking pictures and do all that preloading, you're not going to get full retail here on Whatnot. It's just really not going to happen unless you really have the curated crowd for it. So, if you want to go about curating that crowd for yourself, knock yourself out. It's just not worth it for us here at Green 13. The biggest benefit to selling here on Whatnot for us as a company is the speed at which we can sell. And if we have to do a bunch of stuff that dwindles or removes that speed, it defeats the purpose. And I said it before, why take a bunch of pictures when you're going to show it live on the camera? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. The, like, here's the item. You get to see it live. You get to see it in multiple, as it would in natural light, or if you want to put a black light, all that stuff. It's right there. That is the point of this platform. So them included, trying to tell you should take all these pictures and all this stuff, I just doesn't make sense. I mean, I know people want to be able to pre-bid and stuff like that. Go do it on the bay. You can pre-bid on what you want all the time there. Uh, I just yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's other purposes to buy it now can serve its purpose. We talked about doing things like that. If you have a lot, if you have those type of buyers that do a lot of gifting and it's worth your time to do it, go ahead and do it. I'm not telling you not to. I'm telling you my personal opinion on preloading stuff here and Whatnot. We tried it based on recommendations by Whatnot. We went through a 6 week seller summit thing, and what we realized is don't what our success was in doing it different than everybody else, and they were trying to get us to do it the same as everybody. And to buy it now, you spend all that time taking pictures, you put it in there. We've done that. We used to have a preloaded buy it now. Two things. I don't like people being distracted by my sale and going to the buy it now because we would try to pitch it in order to get money. And I just don't like that people leaving or drawing their attention away from whatever I'm trying to sell. Uh, and my opinion is as few as possible. If you're doing it for gifting purposes, put it in there and keep it rolling from one sale to the next. The other thing is we did a whole bunch of buy it now items, and they're sitting on the shelf. And then when some stuff sells, and it's just like a logistical nightmare on the back end as far as inventorying. When you're trying to do it at in large volumes. Now, hey Donatello, what's going on? Now, as far as buy it now goes, the reason Whatnot is trying to get you to do a lot of those, and here's one of the benefits I could see, but this, in my opinion, falls slightly under the spamming aspect, is putting items in that are heavily searched items in order to get people to come to your sale. How do you keep track of what people purchase? I've seen sticky notes, screenshots, tape, etc. I'll answer that question in a second. We use, and again, here's the other request I have, even for future sales. I don't have a whole lot more time. I'm going to be on here. Um, if you have a question for me, make sure you use a question mark so it shows up yellow. Otherwise, I'll assume you're talking to other people in the chat or responding or answering questions, so on and so forth. That doesn't involve me. How we keep track, we do things extremely different here on Whatnot. As far as keeping track, we do generalized shipping weights. We eat the cost of shipping. We factor in, we like to utilize the law of averages, not law of averages, averaging uh, prices, weights, so on and so forth, dimensions, and all that kind of fun stuff. We do have the ability to utilize UPS, which has helped with the dimensional weight aspect to keep our costs down. So once that rolls out, hopefully that'll help everyone else too, so they could, continue to apply these type of methods. And then we use just a sticky note. We print out a bunch of sticky notes. We have a printer that prints them out. We just do generic lots. When you come to our sales, you'll see everything sell lot one, lot two, lot three, lot four. And we just slap it on the item or put it in a bag or box and slap it on the bag or box. Why do we get it? It's a beta program, and they provide it to high volume sellers in different categories to see how it's going to work out. And we luckily were asked if we would like to join, and we did. It will be rolling out at some point, but they're probably still in the big, data gathering aspects. No, you don't have to change it if you don't want to. Weight's what's important, and then dimensional weight kicks in after 12 by 12 by 12. You seem to get a lot of perks, UPS sponsored shows. Yeah, I mean, we get them more than the other people. That is what happens in any environment that you're selling. Thank you for the tip. I didn't see who that was, Kraken. Um, yeah, the benefits. That's why I said if you want benefits, start asking for it. They did start providing them to us. I do want everyone to realize, in order for us to get to the point that we got to, we lost a lot of money in sale. We eat a lot of money in shipping, all that kind of stuff. What not recognized is they don't care how much money we're losing selling on whatnot. They don't care how much money we're losing on shipping. What they like is how much money they're making on commissions. So UPS has been life changing for us, and so is whatnot. Yeah. So you grind it out, you do your time, and they reward you for it. That's what I can say as far as that's concerned. It is not a situation where I would say, "Hey, it's unfair." You do the work, you put it in, and they're rewarding you for it. So that's what I would say as far as that. I know at times it could seem like it's unfair because the people that you know have the big room numbers and have the big numbers get more benefits, but it's a profit generating thing. I understand that there's things that people that are new want to have benefits to make it easier, but you know, there's the pros and cons of current situation, the pros and cons of past situations. But it's hard work, dedication, and putting the time in. Yeah, 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 yeah. Donatello, you're absolutely right. You got to look at it as, hey, if I were you, if you're new, I would decide, hey, I'm willing to lose this much money on this venture and go to work, putting your plan into action, um, and start selling. And if you lose the amount of money you set aside that you're willing to lose, then stop. If you continue to make money or get things worked out, that you start becoming profitable, even though you lost some at first, keep doing what works. Yeah, all businesses. You're absolutely right. And you got to treat the venture that you're going into like a new business. What I wouldn't suggest is keep throwing money down the drain. If you get to near the end of your allowable expenditures or losses that you're willing to take, but you start seeing some positive upsides, maybe you can have a certain percentage threshold you're willing to throw additionally into it. Go ahead and do that. If I start selling crystals at a loss, wouldn't it expect it? Expect you to keep selling it at a loss? No. I mean, here's the deal. It's the rules of sales. You know, if you start selling things and people are getting good deals, uh, they'll continue to come back. And then the more the people keep coming back, the more people see that your room size is growing. The more people see your room, it creates curiosity. More people that are interested in your items will eventually show up and start buying. We gave away deals, tons of deals, and it created, more people wanting to come to get deals. The more people there to get deals, the less deals there are to be had. So you got to give the deals to get rid of the deals when it comes to the auction world, in my opinion, especially here and whatnot. So hopefully that makes sense. Uh, keep in mind, you got to look at it from a different perspective. And then I got to get going here really in the next couple of minutes. Your costs that you're throwing into this venture that you want to take if you're going to be starting new here and whatnot. Look at those losses as advertising and marketing. Don't look at them as a loss on your product. Look at them from a different perspective, and it won't hurt as much. I've expressed this. This is a truth. There's another behavioral aspect of your of people's minds that you cannot eliminate or get away from. Knowing that it's a truth helps a little bit. That a loss feels twice as bad as a gain feels good. Make sure you understand that. That is at a minimum. A lot of times a loss feels more than twice as bad. A loss feels twice as bad as a gain feels good. Understand that principle. Check yourself when you're doing these type of sales that if you're new and you're losing money, it's going to happen. It's going to happen over and over and over again. Say that phrase to yourself when it does happen. I'll do a mental exercise personally. If I were in that situation, I would say that exact phrase and then say the money was set aside specifically for advertising and marketing, and that's what it is. Yep. That's the other thing I always say on here, and don't be ashamed to say it. You know, we don't do a lot of giveaways. You know why Green 13 doesn't do a lot of giveaways? Because the main thing that I say very frequently, our biggest giveaway at Green 13 is profit. That's 100% the truth. When we do our sort sales, when we do our pick this old house sales, people are getting great deals, making lots of money, buying stuff for their collections at a colossal discount. So that's the biggest giveaway. So we don't do a whole lot of additional giveaways above and beyond that. So besides any one last minute question or anything, or actually, if there's another topic that you'd like me to cover in the future, let me know now. Um, throw it up there in the chat. Anything anybody else would like me to cover right now? These are the three that I have for future topics: how to get buyers, um, how to maximize your first show, and building relationships with buyers. Right there, we just covered one. Give them a great deal. Hey, it's no problem. I enjoy doing this. If you want to see some of the recap we did, and I went a little bit further into some psychological principles of utilizing color, the scan show, and the anchoring method on the sticky notes. So go back and watch this video if you want to see that stuff that deals more with uh, the behavioral principles of selling here and whatnot. Can you have same item listed in the bay and then pull when sells here? If you want to. I mean, as long as you don't get yourself in a bind where somebody on eBay bought it and you have to cancel it. I don't have the answer to that. Uh, and a lot of times it's not the product you're selling, it's what the way you're selling. Because one person could have way more for certain products than another, and it does. You got to realize you're in showbiz on here. Your showbiz and entertainment coming along with your sales ability. So, all right, I'm going to get going. I'm 3 minutes past what I was planning on doing. Thank you for the tip. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go enjoy my time outside with my wife, having some fun going through a nice wildflower preserve. Hey, it's no problem. Hopefully you messaged me, Jilly. If you didn't, make sure you do because I wasn't exactly sure what you were talking about. But I got to get going. I'm almost 5 minutes past my time. Thank you everybody for showing up. Don't forget, we don't have as many shows next week because Steve-O's not in. I got to get a bunch of shipping done. Outside of that, Labor Day, Monday, everybody's pick this old house. Go check out the video. The first 3 days are posted. You're not going to want to miss it if you haven't. been to one of those, and the most fun, most entertaining, most enjoyable sales we do. And I would say it ranks right up there with one of the most enjoyable and whatnot. That's my personal opinion. I love them. They're so much fun. So until then, everybody, happy bidding, and I look forward to seeing you there.